Greetings, my human friends. This is Rudolf, the tall white alien. Today I would like to go a bit into the very basis of the human mind and how it differs from the mind of other creatures, particularly animals, and even plants on planet Earth. Yes, just imagine you were born and raised in the wild by a wolf's family maybe, and you have never ever seen a human being before or anything which resembles civilization. You have never seen a house, you have never seen a car. You have never seen, as I said, a human, and never even heard a human voice. Just imagine this and lean back and make yourself comfortable, so I will tell you what it is all about. When you are growing up in the wild, you hear strange noises. You hear the wind, you hear the water, and you see trees, immense trees and plants around you. Since you have never spoken a word and you have never been in contact with another being which was able to go verbally into all that what surrounds you, all you experience with your senses, all you experience with your eyes and ears, taste and touch, all you hear and see is a direct experience. You look at what you call a tree, but you don't know it's a tree. You only look at it and it is familiar to you, as well as the sounds around you are familiar. You have a direct experience, a direct relationship to the world. Nothing interferes with this relationship. You are that what you experience in the here and in the now. Your feet are touching the ground. You feel the rain, you feel the cold, and you feel the heat. There's nothing between you and nature, nothing which interferes. But one day you get a little bit older and you venture far, far away from the place you are used to, from the wilderness, and you explore. You go to explore the unknown. And all of a sudden you hear strange noises, sounds which you have never heard before. Mechanical sounds, electrical sounds. You hear that, what a human being has produced in civilization. You go on and follow the sound and see things, forms you've never seen before. You call it houses, you call it cars, you call it other humans. And these other beings, you see, they resemble you in a way, but instead of a naked skin, they're wearing a strange skin around them in different colors, in different forms. You don't know this is clothing yet, but you imagine these are quite similar beings to yourself. And it is interesting. This world is completely new to you, and you hear these beings which look a little bit like you to give up strange sounds and quack, 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 click, click, quack, quack, all kinds of noises when they see each other. You imagine it is something like the wolves or other animals do with each other, some kind of communication, and eventually, when you live longer under these creatures, you also learn the sounds, you learn to imitate their sounds, and eventually people will teach you the meaning of it. You will learn that what you always have known is not what you have known. That what you see and feel normally has a name. And everything around you that will be explained to you has a very specific name. Cars, people, animals, nature itself, houses, airplanes, everything has a very specific name. And you learn these names. And one day you will dress like them, walk straight like them. You eat different kinds of food, cooked foods, and not the raw fish and the raw berries which you gathered in nature. And it takes years, but afterwards you have taken much on from civilized men. And the most important thing you learned on the way was that what you have experienced as nature, what you have experienced, for example, as a tree in a direct way, your senses have been basically one with a tree, is not anymore. You learned something very, very strange, that whenever you see a tree, for example, or anything else, when you see a tree, immediately you think tree. And after you think tree, you are realizing what you are seeing. So between you and nature as you lived before, you and the world around you as you lived before, has been blocked off by thought and language. Language is what is being driven between you and the direct experience. You cannot look at anything anymore without using language. Working it over first with language and giving it names and characteristics. And only after you did this, you start getting a feel for it. The direct experience, like the sound of the birds right now, is blocked by the name bird. Bird, sound, passing of sound. Only then in the subconscious, once you have been going through these words, you have the experience. This is the difference between a natural being, a being which experiences its surroundings without being corrupted, and the experience of a being who has learned to communicate through language with other beings and has been used to thinking in these terms. Corruption is based on words. And then comes the most terrible part of it. These words are used by beings around you to manipulate your world. You will sit and listen to another human being, and this other human being will use this language to create, by telling you a story, creating a picture in your mind. You don't even have to see the tree anymore. You just have to hear from this other person the word tree, and instantly this tree will appear in your mind. So far, so good. If this other person would use language only for describe what's going on, and you would communicate that way, this would be a phenomenon of language and sound, but it would still be acceptable. But it is not acceptable anymore when a language is being used to manipulate your mind, to tell you things which in reality do not exist. And that is what's happening from you are very small when you hear the first uttering of your mother's voice. Until you die, you hear the noises and the voices of people and hear their language, and all they do, or mainly what they do, is they try to manipulate you with it. And you build your world not anymore out of your own direct experience, but you build your world out of that what you have learned by communication through words. And that's what you have learned, is that what others want you to believe and not what is in reality. Hence there is politics and religion and media, all these people who stand behind it, all these people who trying words to manipulate you, to tell you about a world, to tell you about a reality which they know is not real, and they hammer it into your mind until you believe something which is not there. And that is what happened to every human being during the course of their life, and that will make out their life in the end. And the experience which our little human had in the beginning is completely blurred and being manipulated in the most devilish, cruel way to bend a human being's direct experience and reality into a perverted view of the world. And this is what you may call the Matrix, Rudolf of Germany.